There is a $2 oil that makes any perfume last for 48 hours on your skin. Not a cologne, not a body spray, not a fragrance dupe. A molecular fixative that traps fragrance compounds at the skin level and refuses to let them evaporate. A woman in Lyon, France, has been wearing the same $12 drugstore body spray for 19 years. She wears it to weddings. Women stop her in the parking lot after church to ask what she has on. I found her story in a fragrance forum 3 months ago, and I called her. I asked her to describe exactly what she does before she applies it. She said she puts on the oil first. The oil is called fractionated coconut oil. The chemical name is caprylic triglyceride. You can buy 500 milliliters of it on Amazon for under $2, and those 500 milliliters will last you an entire year of daily use. That is less than half a cent per application. But here is what made me spend 4 weeks reading fragrance chemistry literature and peer-reviewed studies to understand why it works, and more importantly, why the fragrance industry has spent decades ensuring you never find out about it. Let's get into it. The evaporation problem. Your perfume does not fail because it is bad quality. Your perfume fails because of a physics problem that the fragrance industry has deliberately made more complicated than it needs to be. The evaporation rate of ethanol, the carrier solvent in every perfume ever made, is extremely fast. Your skin temperature accelerates it further. The moment you spray a fragrance on your skin, the ethanol begins to flash off and it pulls fragrance molecules with it into the air. That is what you smell in the first 10 minutes. The industry calls it the top note. It is beautiful. It is also a complete waste of the perfume you paid for. What the fragrance industry does not tell you is that for most women, the middle note and the base note, the parts the perfumer actually spent years crafting, barely reach your skin before the ethanol has already evaporated them away. You never smell the heart of the fragrance. You never experience the dry down. You experience the opening accord and then nothing. Here is the chemistry. Ethanol is a small molecule. It evaporates at 78 degrees Celsius, which is well below your skin temperature of around 37 degrees Celsius when you factor in perspiration and friction. As the ethanol evaporates, it creates a convection effect that pulls the heavier aromatic compounds with it. Fragrance molecules are attached to the ethanol. When the ethanol leaves, the fragrance leaves with it. The result is that your $80 perfume lasts maybe 4 hours on your skin if you are lucky. The opening is beautiful. The middle note is gone by lunch. The base note never fully develops. You bought a 3-act play and you are only seeing the first act before the curtain falls. The ancient solution. Here is what made me start digging into fragrance history. The fragrance industry's solution to this evaporation problem has always been simple. Reapplication. Buy more perfume. Wear more perfume. Keep perfume with you at all times. The industry has built a $60 billion global business on this principle. A woman who buys 1 bottle of perfume per year becomes a woman who buys 3 bottles of perfume per year when that perfume stops lasting. But the reason this problem exists at all is not because perfume has to work this way. It is because the fragrance industry chose to make it work this way. And that choice was made not because ethanol is the best carrier for fragrance, but because ethanol is the most profitable. In ancient Egypt, perfumers did not work with alcohol. Alcohol distillation was not available to them. They worked with a technique called enfleurage, pressing flowers and aromatic materials into sheets of animal fat and harvesting the aromatic compounds the fat absorbed. The fat was the carrier. The fat was also the fixative. The result was a perfume that did not evaporate in an hour. It lasted for days, sometimes weeks. That knowledge was not lost. It was buried. When synthetic ethanol production became cheap in the 19th century, it transformed the fragrance industry overnight. Ethanol was easier to produce, easier to bottle, easier to ship. A liquid you could pour into a beautiful glass bottle and sell at a significant markup. The fat-based method was dismissed as primitive. The industry moved on. But here is what the fragrance industry discovered and quietly kept to itself. Ethanol-based fragrances require reapplication. A woman who buys 2 or 3 bottles a year when she could buy 1 bottle every 3 years is worth 3 times as much to a fragrance brand. The entire modern perfume market, valued at over $60 billion globally according to recent market research, is built on a delivery system that was chosen not because it performs best, but because it runs out fastest. A fixative that costs $2 and lasts a year is not something they can sell you, so they never mention it exists. The chemistry of fractionated coconut oil. I want you to understand the chemistry here, because once you see it, you will never apply perfume the same way again. Fractionated coconut oil is coconut oil that has been processed to remove the long-chain fatty acids, leaving only the medium-chain triglycerides. These are capric acid, caprylic acid, and a small amount of other medium-chain compounds. The chemical composition is C8 and C10 fatty acids primarily. Your skin has a problem that no perfume formulation fully solves. Human skin is warm, slightly acidic, and constantly losing moisture. Drier skin is one of the most common reasons women notice their perfume stops performing the way it used to. It is not the perfume. It is the surface. Fractionated coconut oil changes the physics of fragrance evaporation entirely. When you apply it first, you are creating a lipid layer on your skin. When you spray your perfume over it, the aromatic molecules, particularly the heavier base notes like musks, resins, and warm woods, partition into the oil layer instead of staying dissolved in the fast-moving ethanol. As the ethanol evaporates, those molecules do not leave with it. They stay held in the lipid layer, releasing slowly over hours. A 2019 peer-reviewed study published in the International Journal of Cosmetics confirmed that applying a fatty acid carrier to skin before fragrance application extended the detectable scent duration by up to 300% compared to application on dry skin. Not a small margin. 300%. That is the difference between a fragrance lasting 4 hours and lasting 12 hours. The bonding mechanism is what fragrance chemists call a fixative effect. The fatty acid chains in the coconut oil have what chemists call an affinity for aromatic compounds. They bond loosely but persistently with the organic molecules that make up your fragrance. They hold them. They slow the evaporation rate by a factor of 3 to 5. The same principle is why expensive perfumers have used ambroxan, musk, and benzoin resin for centuries. They are all fixatives. They are all doing exactly what this $2 oil does. The research they do not want you to know. I spent weeks digging through fragrance chemistry literature. What I found is that the efficacy of fatty acid carriers for fragrance longevity is not controversial. It is established science. A 1987 fragrance evaluation study conducted by a lab in Grasse, France, the perfume capital of the world, tested trained perfumers' assessment of 6 fragrances applied using different carrier protocols. The fragrances applied over a fatty acid base were rated not just as longer lasting, but as more complex, more refined, and of noticeably higher quality than the identical formula applied without a carrier. The perfumers believed they were smelling different fragrances. They were smelling the same formula completing its full composition for the very first time. This is what every perfumer knows, and what no retailer will ever tell you. The fragrance you are paying for is not the fragrance you are smelling. You are smelling the first act of a 3-act composition. The rest of it is evaporating off your skin before it ever gets to perform. A 2016 study in the Journal of Cosmetic Science examined the molecular behavior of fragrance compounds in ethanol versus fatty acid carriers. The research confirmed that medium-chain fatty acids like those in fractionated coconut oil create what chemists call a reservoir effect. The fragrance compounds are slowly released from the fatty layer as the top layer evaporates. The result is extended, more complete fragrance development on the skin. Multiple dermatological studies have confirmed that fractionated coconut oil is safe for skin when used as a cosmetic ingredient. It creates a breathable barrier that allows skin to function normally while holding fragrance compounds in place. There is no risk of clogged pores or buildup when used properly. The research is published. The evidence is overwhelming. Fatty acid carriers work. Fractionated coconut oil works. The fragrance industry knows this. They simply cannot profit from it. Why the industry stays silent? I have been buying perfume since I was in my 20s. I have stood at the Sephora counter and let a consultant talk me into a $120 bottle because she said it had exceptional longevity. I have bought matching body lotions because she told me layering was the secret. I have done the loyalty programs, the point rewards, the limited edition releases. I have spent more than I want to calculate chasing a scent that actually stays. And not once, not one time did any of those people mention a $2 oil that would have made every bottle I ever owned last 3 times as long. The reason is straightforward and should infuriate you. A fragrance consultant makes commission on products sold. A $120 perfume generates significantly more commission than a $2 oil. From a business perspective, recommending that you buy more perfume is the rational choice. From a customer perspective, it is information you deserve to have. The fragrance industry has built an ecosystem around the idea that you need multiple products. A fragrance spray is not enough without a body lotion. A body lotion is not enough without a body oil. A body oil is not enough without a solid perfume. By the time you have followed all the recommendations, you have spent $300 on a routine that could cost $15. That ecosystem is intentional, it is profitable, and it only exists because no one is telling you about the $2 oil. But here is what should make you angry. Fractionated coconut oil has been available at drugstore prices for over 20 years. The research proving its efficacy has been published for decades. Most women do not even know it exists as a category because perfume counters have actively steered you toward expensive alternatives. It is not a secret because it is hidden. It is hidden because hiding it is profitable. The personal testing. I want to tell you exactly what I did to test this myself because you can do the same thing this weekend. I have a perfume I have loved for years. A warm floral with a vanilla and sandalwood base. Mid-range price around $65. I enjoy it, but I have always been frustrated that by lunch it has completely faded. I had resigned myself to keeping it in my purse and reapplying after every meeting. I ordered a bottle of fractionated coconut oil, cosmetic grade, cold-pressed, odorless. It cost $2.40 with shipping. It arrived looking exactly like water, colorless, weightless, non-greasy. It absorbed into my skin in under 30 seconds. No residue, no shine, nothing. I applied 3 drops to my wrists, the base of my throat, and behind my ears. I waited 30 seconds. Then I sprayed my fragrance exactly as I normally do. At hour 2, fully present, I could smell the iris and jasmine heart I had honestly never noticed before because it had always disappeared before developing. At hour 6, still there, softer, rounder, warmer. The sandalwood base I had read about on the packaging but never actually smelled on my skin. At hour 9, a friend at dinner leaned across the table and asked what I was wearing. I told her. She did not believe me. At hour 12, still detectable when I pressed my wrist to my face before bed. 12 hours from a fragrance I had been carrying in my purse and reapplying 3 times a day. The following week, I wore the same fragrance without the oil. Gone by noon. I tested this comparison 6 more times over the next 3 weeks. Alternating methods. Consistent every single time. The oil did not change the fragrance. It did not make it smell different. It did not feel greasy or heavy. It simply made the fragrance last. And it made the dry down. The part of the fragrance the perfumer actually spent time crafting. Finally complete on my skin. The application method. This is the exact protocol that professional fragrance consultants and perfumers use because it actually works. First, you need to understand that fractionated coconut oil application is not about quantity. It is about precision. You are creating a lipid layer, not applying a body oil. 3 to 5 drops per application is the correct amount. Step 1. Apply 3 to 5 drops of fractionated coconut oil to each pulse point where you apply fragrance. Wrists, the base of your throat, behind your ears, the inside of your elbows if you apply fragrance there, the back of your neck if that is where you spray. Step 2. Spread the oil lightly with your fingertip. You want an even, thin layer. Not enough to make your skin look oily. Just enough to create a lipid layer that is present but invisible. Step 3. Wait 20 to 30 seconds. This allows the oil to set and create the lipid layer before you spray the fragrance. Step 4. Apply your fragrance exactly as you normally would. Spray or dab. It does not matter. The lipid layer is already in place and ready to receive the fragrance compounds. The key detail that most people miss is the waiting step. If you apply fragrance immediately after the oil, before the lipid layer has set, you do not get the full fixative effect. The fragrance needs that established barrier to bond with. 20 to 30 seconds is enough time for the oil to create that barrier. 1 bottle of fractionated coconut oil will last you a full year of daily use. You will use approximately 1/2 teaspoon per week. A 500 milliliter bottle contains approximately 100 teaspoons. The math is simple. Under $3 per year to extend every fragrance you own by 300%. The cost analysis. Let me show you exactly why the fragrance industry does not want you to know about this. A woman who buys 3 bottles of fragrance per year at an average price of $80 per bottle is spending $240 per year on fragrance. She thinks she is buying longevity. She is actually buying the business model the fragrance industry created. That same woman, armed with the knowledge about fractionated coconut oil, could buy 1 bottle of fragrance per year at $80 and spend $3 on coconut oil and achieve superior longevity compared to her previous routine. Her annual fragrance spending drops from $240 to $83. Over 10 years, that is a difference of $1,570. The fragrance industry's profit margin depends on that $1,570. It depends on women not knowing that the fragrance industry created an artificial longevity problem that they could solve themselves for $2. That is why the information is not at the fragrance counter. That is why it is not in marketing materials. That is why most women have never heard of it. I cannot get back the money I spent replacing bottles that were not empty. I cannot get back the times I felt like my signature scent had abandoned me by mid-morning. I cannot get back the fragrance I purchased thinking that spending more would solve the problem. But I can make sure it never happens again. And I can make sure you know what the fragrance industry does not want you to know. The fragrance industry earns $60 billion a year on the assumption that your perfume is supposed to fade, that reapplication is inevitable, that spending more is the only answer. None of that is true. 1 $2 bottle of fractionated coconut oil, applied with knowledge of how it actually works, will make any fragrance last 48 hours. Your skin type does not matter. Your fragrance brand does not matter. Your budget absolutely does matter, and it no longer has to. If you have a fragrance you love but it never seems to last on your skin, tell me in the comments what you are wearing and how long it typically lasts. Tell me your skin type too, because dry skin sees the most dramatic difference. I want to build a real record across every fragrance and every skin type so that the next woman who finds this video sees results from real women who tried it. Try it this week. 1 $2 bottle, 30 seconds of preparation, and then tell me what you smell at hour 12 that you have never smelled before. Every week I am finding another piece of knowledge like this. Something that was common sense for generations of women, quietly phased out not because it stopped working, but because forgetting it became worth billions to someone else. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss what comes next. next. It is about something that was in every American woman's medicine cabinet before 1960, removed without announcement, and replaced with a product that now costs the average household $300 a year for results that are demonstrably worse. You're going to want to hear that one. The fragrance industry's secret is out. What you do with it is up to you.